4:38 in the afternoon. We are going to be we're pushing up to that 5 o'clock hour. CBS 11 KTVA News. And at 5:30, my good friend Glenn Beagle with the fastest show on radio coming at you. Again, testimony is going on down at the Anchorage Assembly Chambers, the Lusac Library off of 36 there. Encourage you to get down there. I'm going to dinner, and then I'll be back to take part in that testimony and to cover the issue. In the meantime, Rebecca Mansour is with conservatives4palin.com. Rebecca, welcome to the program.
Hey there, Eddie. How you doing?
How you doing? This is definitely once a week gig here you and I got going. But there's a lot going on with the website and what you folks are doing. First of all is the webathon that's going on. Talk about that.
Well, we're just chugging it right along. We're trying to get more people, cast the net wider, send out more of an SOS to get people to donate. Because as you know, the $150 limit per person per year on donation really limits, because that means that we have to have a big group of people donating in order to retire the debt. So we're just trying to hit, as many media outlets as we can, and you guys are awesome for, getting the word out, and just trying to encourage people, if you've given the max, then have your spouse give the max, or, call up your friends, have your, your adult kids or whatever, or somebody, give the max in their name, just to help retire the debt and show that this is unacceptable to do that to an honest public servant.
Yeah, it has been pretty unacceptable. Actually, there's blogs that I was made aware of that Linda Beagle is attempting to file another ethics complaint or do some more email searches, but the cost is prohibitive. Trying to figure out a way. It's interesting how this is being orchestrated in these liberal blogs to find something that the governor possibly has done wrong. It doesn't even matter if it's wrong or not. They just file them anyways.
Exactly. I mean, they go after us too. I mean, they like snoop around our website, and we got word of. We went over to one of the big lefty blogs, and we're noticing that people were making comments about how they wanted to fake out our webathon by reporting false numbers.
Right.
And that and we're getting people emailing us with nasty comments to the webathon email address. This is just the mentality of these people. It's really sad, because these are the same type of people that are filing these bogus ethics complaints, and essentially they're dishonest, they're mean-spirited, and they're unethical themselves.
I don't know how this works here, but the left always tries to make the conservatives look like we're so evil and things we do are so bad. But, they never look in the mirror, and what they do is 3 times atrocious. It's just, they say something like, you said this, and you look back and you see what they said, and it's like, are you kidding me? I mean, you complained about this, but what you said is just 3 times as bad. I mean, I don't mind people being critical of what people say. I mean, I talk a lot here on the radio, but my goodness alive, can't you hold yourself accountable? There just seems like a huge hypocrisy, and I noticed that here in a recent deal, like when there was this campaign about women against Palin, but I hope, anyways, I hope that people will go to the website Conservatives for Palin. And check it out and go there and read things that you have. Also, it's AlaskaFundTrust.com in order to donate, correct?
Yeah, thealaskafundtrust.com.
Right. Recently, let's switch subjects a little bit. Recently, you did a story on Mike Hawker, and it's on the website also, and it seems, you start out, it says, it seems as though President Obama has found a new surrogate to take on the role of convincing the public that the string laden stimulus is really string-free. And you go on, Representative Mike Hawker of Anchorage, co-chair of the House Finance Committee, formally announced his new role in an op-ed he wrote last week for the Anchorage Daily News, and taking exception with Governor Palin's veto of the $28.6 million in energy stimulus funds that would have, what did you write there? Let's say lost
local control. Yeah.
Right.
You know what? It's really scary and sad is how much misrepresentation is going on. and it's really going to hurt Alaska. I mean, the fact is that $28.6 million in energy stimulus money, it's going to cost Alaska more money to enforce those energy stimulus code requirements. They're going to have to end up. You guys are going to have to end up spending more money to enforce it than you're getting in that $28.6 million, because there are huge strings attached. And what Hawker was doing in that piece is he was taking one letter, the May 19th letter, and he was using that as the basis of his whole argument. And in that letter, it's quoted as saying that the governor has to use, the authority within his or her, the extent of his or her authority to enforce these things. And so he was taking that, interpreting that to say, oh well, obviously it was vague. The wording was within the extent of his or her authority to take action.
Yeah.
Now that is not vague at all, actually, because within the governor's authority to enforce these codes. And so what Governor Palin did then is, after that May 19th letter, she requested clarification from the Department of Energy, and she sure got it. And then on May 29th, she wrote an op-ed explaining what the clarification was.
I recall.
And the feds clearly told her, they clarified their position, and the Department of Energy admitted that Section 410 of the stimulus and their previous statements were inappropriate, quote, for some states, but still wanted that agreement to push those model codes on all Alaskan communities.
Right.
That's why she said no. And then get this is the kicker. So Hawker is still, citing that May 19th letter, which is very vague and actually not even really that vague at all. But then on June 1st, the Department of Energy released a draft document of how they're going to enforce the requirements. And that draft document is a total eye-opener.
Right.
Because, strings all over the place about how they're going to enforce these codes. And an architect based in Anchorage wrote an incredible op-ed explaining that, this is just major trouble, okay, what it's going to cost the state, especially to enforce these things in the rural villages. So that's when, Governor Palin released a June 5th, press release explaining, here's the strings, people. Now, that draft document isn't final, but it shows the clear intention of the Department of Energy about how they want these, this thing to go down, and it's going to be a huge problem. And I got to tell you, I've lived in California. There are so many ridiculous, crazy building codes out here. Alaskans have got to protect their freedom, from these building codes.
Right.
You don't want these things. It's crazy.
And
it's just awesome that you guys don't have this.
Yeah. Would you like to speculate? I mean, what's Hawker's motives here? I mean, he's called the relationship between the partnering of TransCanada and ExxonMobil a circus. He's ridiculed the governor for not accepting this money. I mean, it sounds like he's more... He calls himself a conservative. He's a registered Republican, but he appears to be more on the Obama team. Is this somehow... I mean, I know his wife works for ConocoPhillips, and of course Exxon has partners, I just said, with TransCanada. You have any speculation at what his motives are?
Well, I think the guy brings Rhino to a whole new level, Republican in name only.
Yeah.
He's like the Rhino of rhinos. I mean, this guy is like the Arlen Specter of Alaska. You just got to tell him to just join the other side of the aisle, I think. I don't see how he's a Republican at all. I think that I don't think that he's running for governor, obviously, because he has more of a personality transplant problem than Frank Murkowski did.
Sure.
But I think that he's just bitter. I think that he's just bitter, and he's a Palin critic of everything Palin related. So I mean, the minute that she leaves the state, he just he kicks back his head and howls. I mean, he's just. I think part of it has to do with the fact that she left the state, to go to New York for the Auburn Day, Auburn
right.
thing, the Alaska Day thing, and he just took that as an opportunity to just start screaming.
Right.
So I have no idea what his motives are, but he is completely dissembling in almost every statement that he's made about this, about the governor's record with funding for the Department of Public Safety, about AGIA. He's just flat out lying.
And he voted for AGIA too.
Yeah.
He voted for AGIA, and then he's critical of the governor about AGIA. How you doing?
Yeah.
Okay, I tell you what, let's do. We're going to try to clean up this connection a little bit. We're having a little interference here. Rebecca, can you hold tight while we pay some bills? We'll be right back. Huh?